Welcome back to First and Five, the show where we give you 5 things to look out for in the NFL this weekend so you can sound a bit smarter to your mates. It's week 9 and we are officially halfway through the NFL season.
Why would you say that?
Now, can the Buffalo Bills prove to the league that they're really worthy? Because it feels like the Buffalo Bills are at a crossroads again. Every season it feels like they're right on the edge of greatness, but the mountain just seems to get higher. Now, Josh Allen's talent is still ridiculous, but as the season has gone on, there has still been some inconsistency. Now, last week's win versus the Panthers was very good, but that was his first game in the last 4 where he didn't throw an interception. And with under 200 passing yards for the second straight week, it feels like the Buffalo Bills are trying to lean on that run game.
House call, touchdown, somersault, he's in!
Even though that win versus Carolina was a great pick-me-up, up next, the Buffalo Bills have got their arch nemesis, the Kansas City Chiefs. For Buffalo, this is more than a mid-season matchup. This is a real gut check. The Bills are 5-2 and they're obviously playing good football again, but in the AFC, if you want to be taken seriously, then you have to exercise your ghosts. What bigger ghost to the Buffalo Bills than the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes? Ooh. A win this weekend versus the Chiefs would silence the what-if crowd and firmly plant the Buffalo Bills in that Super Bowl conversation again. Now, the second thing that you should look out for this weekend is Tyler Shuck. The New Orleans Saints have been receiving a lot of calls regarding trades for one of their wide receivers. However, their reluctance to trade away a receiver might be a silent indication of confidence in their new starting quarterback, Tyler Shuck. Now, for those that don't follow me on TikTok, go follow me on TikTok. Tyler Shuck was my QB3 in this year's draft after Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. Ooh, what about Jackson Dart? Not now, New York Giants fans. And while Cam Ward went number 1 and Shedeur Sanders was drafted way later than expected, the New Orleans Saints took a leap of faith on the former Louisville quarterback. Now, even though Tyler Shuck is a rookie, this man is 26 years old. And while a lot of people might see that as a negative, this guy has taken a lot of snaps and seen a lot of defenses. And one thing you need to know about Tyler Shuck is his arm talent is nuts, which leads to a lot of insane throws and, dare I say, some gunslinger tendencies. But Tyler Shuck will get a baptism of fire because the New Orleans Saints now have to travel to the Los Angeles Rams. And that Rams defense is looking like one of the best in the league and they're coming off a bye. However, that normally goes against the rested team. Am I right, Sean Payton? But not gonna lie, guys, my gut is telling me that we'll see Tyler Shuck pull off the upset in SoFi Stadium. Guys, can we talk about Jonathan Taylor? Because the Colts running back is first in the league for carries, first in the league for rushing yards, and first in the league for rushing touchdowns. He's a front runner for Offensive Player of the Year, and he should be the front runner for MVP, but I'm not gonna lie, he might slow down. Hear me out, hear me out. The Indianapolis Colts have already played 3 of the bottom 10 worst rushing defenses in the league. They played the Miami Dolphins in week 1 and then obviously the Tennessee Titans in week 3 and in week 8. In those games, Jonathan Taylor has rushed for 326 yards with 6.9 yards per carry and 5 TD. However, when he's played teams outside of the bottom 10 rushing defenses, his yards per carry drops to 5.46. Now, don't get me wrong, that is still very good, dare I say elite.
Man, he's the best in the world! Appreciate y'all.
But now that the Titans are off the schedule and the Indianapolis Colts won't play another bottom 10 rushing defense for the rest of the season, do expect his numbers to smooth out a bit. Because this weekend, the Colts will match up against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who do have the 14th best rushing defense in the league. So I'm not saying Jonathan Taylor's numbers are inflated, but the MVP shouts might be a bit too soon. Damn, I've always got to ruin the fun, don't I? The Minnesota Vikings are falling apart. Because JJ McCarthy is questionable this weekend with an ankle injury, and I'm pretty sure the state of Minnesota has run out of tape to stitch up Carson Wentz. And if McCarthy isn't healthy enough this weekend, then it's over to QB3 Max Brosman. Now, you guys know me, I love college football, and I wish I could do one of those segments where I'm like, oh, Max Brosman was underrated and you need to look out for him, but I'm not gonna lie, that is not the case here. Max Brosman was a 4-year starter at FCS College, New Hampshire. For anyone that doesn't know what the FCS is, it is a second tier of college football. So whilst you've got the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Ohio States, and the Oregons in the FBS, the FCS is slightly a tier down. Well, if Max Brosman was in the FCS, he surely was the best quarterback in that division. Not quite. He was ranked the best QB in the FCS in 2023, but in the other 3 years, he didn't even make the All-FCS team. But then in his last year of college, he would transfer to Big Ten school Minnesota, where he would throw 18 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. And then at the end of the season, he would go undrafted and just stay in the same state, going to the Minnesota Vikings. And now the Minnesota Vikings this week have to play the Detroit Lions, who look like one of the best teams in the league. Good luck, Minnesota. And the fifth thing to look out for this weekend is the playoff picture. Now, this is the point in the NFL season where things start to get real because we are 8 weeks down with 10 to go, and now every Sunday game is going to feel like double.
Starting to get a bit shaky, you know? I mean, I'm a little bit weak.
The early surprises and hot starts have burned off, and now we're starting to see which teams actually have the stamina to survive the second half of the season. And you've got so many teams hovering around 500 trying to climb that ladder. And now every week will be a cage match because the difference between being a 6th seed and playing home games in January might come down to a missed field goal or a 70-yard one. But guys, those are 5 more things to look out for in the NFL this weekend. What are your thoughts though? Comment down below and let us know. And if you have enjoyed this video and you want to see more content, then just subscribe to the NFL UK and Ireland YouTube channel. I've been American TJ. Peace.